Between 2010 and 2011, 11 bodies were found near Gilgo Beach, south of Long Island between Nassau and Suffolk counties. Most of the night belongs to the female pilgrims whose lives have been wiped out since 1993. But it wasn't until 2023 that they finally caught Rex Heuermann, 60-year-old inventor and father of two. They linked him to the crime through DNA evidence, cell phone documents, and the connection between his Chevy Avalanche and crimes after his arrest. Rex was charged with the murders of 4 women and 2 others after DNA evidence linked him to the crimes. Police made a worrying discovery that the suspect used multiple phone burners and thousands of searches related to items he later used on his victims. And to seal Heuermann's fate, they also found a large text document on his hard drive in his basement in which Rex had clearly planned the murder of his victim. To his surprise, the note included a checklist detailing the steps he should take before, during, and after the execution. According to forensic evidence, Heuermann began committing these crimes as early as 1993 and, if convicted, he will face consecutive life sentences. In 2024, this trend continues. But after checking in 2023, some internet users discovered a Google Street View image of Heuermann talking to an unidentified woman near his office on East 36th Street more than a year ago. He will be caught now. We don't know who this woman is. And it's entirely possible that she might be a victim. But we can't say for sure either. Chillingly, in the image, Rex also appears to be wearing the same shirt that he wore for a YouTube interview earlier in 2022, where he spoke about his role as an architect at his firm on Fifth Avenue. His defense lawyer, Michael Brown, told the New York Post that the cops have the wrong men. On July 30, 2010, 3 men were drinking together in a backyard in Richland County, South Carolina. The men were identified as Leslie Todd Parvin, Edgar Lopez, and Pablo Gutierrez Guzman at one point in the afternoon. There was an argument between the 3 men. And finally, Leslie pulls a gun from his waistband and kills 2 other men. It is not clear what sparked the altercation between the 3 men. But shortly after the shooting incident, Parvin then fled to Louisiana in his green Kia minivan. He arrived, beheaded her, and destroyed both the guns she used to kill her 2 victims, including minivans. Within days, Parvin was able to elude authorities, but police soon began checking the license plates of every yellow Kia registered in Louisiana. Investigative records show that after 2 murders, witnesses provided partial identification of Parvin's van, and 2 days later police entered the suspect's address into Google Maps Street View and apparently spotted a red van parked out front. His house, complete with license plate and description, matched what witnesses told him. The evidence gathered against him was almost completely ignored by Parvin, and on April 19, a relative took him back to his home in Windsor Lake, where he was immediately arrested on 2 counts of murder and later jailed. 35 years. During the investigation, it has been officially revealed that Parvin is a 20-year veteran, has served 5 times overseas and suffers from severe PTSD, which he was diagnosed with in 2007. According to his father's testimony, his 20 years of military service and the stress from his tours near Iraq and Afghanistan could have influenced his behavior on the day of the incident. You would think that after 2 decades of selflessly serving his country, Parvin would have been provided the appropriate mental health treatment to help him live his life peacefully. Instead, 2 innocent men are now dead, and the perpetrator himself will be spending most of the life behind bars. 35 years after his crime, at the age of 75, Parvin will be released from prison into a world he'll probably no longer even recognize. Porto Rotondo is a region of Sardinia known for its luxurious villas, sandy beaches, and quaint shops and restaurants. In 2002, an Italian businessman sold his villa in Porto Rotondo for €280,000 due to the transaction. Such a value is relatively low. The sale was an immediate red flag for officials and financial police in Italy. They ended up using Google Earth and were part of the investigation into the site. One interesting fact about this villa is that it is reported that there is a swimming pool with a unique shape, which police used to search the villa using satellite images. As soon as they purchased the property, they announced a big tax cut, because the real value of the villa must be much higher, considering the adjacent properties, all of which are worth as much as 7 figures. With sufficient satellite imagery evidence to prove that the unidentified businessman had actually committed tax fraud. Financial police then checked the suspect's bank accounts. and found that a deposit of €7 million was not specified, which is many years old. This is something I haven't been able to find much information about. This is because the original article in Italian contained very little information. And there has not even been an official confirmation of the pirate's legal status. However, he may have his assets confiscated, and because of the darkness of the undisclosed amount, so he will likely spend at least several years in prison. In July 2018, Channel 4 released an incredibly disturbing video which showed a group of uniformed men leading multiple women and children through a dirt road and onto a deserted patch of land, where the armed men then shamelessly took the lives of the victims at gunpoint. In the video, the men can be heard accusing the women and children of belonging to the notorious terrorist group Boko Haram. The video attracted worldwide attention. Hundreds of people immediately claimed that the horrifying images were taken in Cameroon. However, the Cameroonian government immediately denied these claims. They stated that the video was not even filmed in their country, and their army was falsely accused that it killed civilians. But the BBC is still not convinced, and their team of detectives decides to find out who committed the crime in the video. Why did this happen? And when did it happen? Upon receiving an anonymous tip, they used Google Maps to analyze the map of a specific region in Cameroon. And it was discovered that the mountain range seen in the background of the video is very close to the village of Karo Marfa, which is close to the Nigerian border. By analyzing years of Google satellite imagery of the region, BBC researchers were able to determine that the incident occurred sometime between March 20th and April 5, 2015, after further investigation. It has been pointed out that the Cameroonian government was insincere when they deny the claim. For example, the government claims that the Cameroonian army does not use weapons like those shown in the video. But a BBC investigation revealed that the weapon was actually a Serbian-made Zostavax M21, which is used in the Cameroon army. Moreover, other details, many things the government said were incorrect. It turned out that they fit together perfectly, including the gunman's uniform. This comes a month after the Cameroonian government initially denied the allegations. They later updated their statement to reveal that 7 officers were under investigation. And when the BBC shared their full report with the Cameroonian government, the country's Minister of Communication was reported saying, in their next statement, the Cameroonian government released the names of the 7 detainees, and the innocent women and children. In 2020, 4 of the soldiers in the video received 10-year prison sentences for the murders, while a 5th soldier was sentenced to 2 years for filming and sharing the footage. The other 2 soldiers were acquitted. It's crazy to think that you can get away with such an atrocious crime and only face 10 years in prison, but at least they're being held accountable for what they did, all thanks to a very detailed examination of the video's content against Google satellite imagery. In September 2008, a 14-year-old Dutch boy was riding a bicycle in Groningen. He was about 110 kilometers northeast of Amsterdam when 2 teenagers walked up behind him and pulled him off his bike. They robbed him of €165 and his phone. For months, police were unable to find any suspects, because no witnesses came forward at all, and only the boy could describe the bandits. In March of that year, the victim went to his computer and started browsing Google Maps Street View to see where he had been arrested about 6 months earlier. Strangely, the Street View car hit 2 men who were walking up behind it before the crime occurred. As always in these pictures, the faces of the 2 thieves and their victims were blurred. But the boy immediately called the police and informed them of the latest developments in the case. Because they had Street View images in their possession, authorities then asked Google to provide a blurred version of the image to help identify the suspect. The interesting thing is, only from blurred images investigators were able to identify the criminal from previous crimes. And the other suspect was identified as the attacker's twin brother. After confirming the name, Dutch police were able to track down and arrest the twins. But I haven't found any official confirmation that they were charged and convicted. It is unclear if the boy received the phone and the money back.